I like it. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Tipple's virtual wine tasting with Elizabeth and Jeff O'Dre, the owners of Tipple's Brews and Wines in Gainesville, Florida. Thank you for joining us. This week, we're kind of running a choose your own adventure with the great Dave Phinney, his trifecta of old world locations wines. So the locations series has New World and Old World wine locations in it. This week we are doing 3 Old World.
Are you gonna hold that one up?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
All right, so France, Italy, and España. So if you guys have not already poured yourself one, feel free to pop those bottles. It is time, and we'll begin to talk about the wines.
I'm thinking maybe I should get one more and we'll just share the glasses.
Yes, that's a good idea. Because I was going to do 6 and then I forgot.
That's just too many.
Right. But I do have labels so we can put which one is on each one. Right, but then you have to memorize it, and this way I can literally put the letter from the.
Okay, well, you could. I was gonna do green for Italy. And okay, that's fine. It looks pretty though. I'm gonna put them on anyway.
You should.
That one's Italy. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
This is France.
You can go ahead and start talking about them.
All right. Well, it's time to jump over to the slides.
Okay.
So let's see here. Share. Boom. All right. So here we are. 3 different wines. All from the same series. The French red blend. They're all red blends. French red blend, Robert Parker, 91 points. Spanish red blend, Robert Parker, 93 points. James Suckling, 92 points. Italian red blend, Robert Parker, 90. Willie Wong, 90 points. So each one of these, as you guys are familiar with the rating system, which we'll cover fresh at the end, puts it up into the outstanding category. Let's check it out and see what we think. And you're back. All right, so let's.
This is I switched some. You can pour Italy first.
Okay. So actually, I want to start with French first.
You want to start with French?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just give me the other glass because I have to switch the wine charms.
All right.
Not that one. Sorry. Oh, you didn't. Are you sharing this? Are you sharing this?
Yeah, I already shared it.
So present.
Oh, I didn't have it in that mode. That's right. Sorry. That's your job, no more.
Well, that's
right. All right. So I've got 3 bottles I'm hustling here. It's going to be an interesting night, everybody. All right. So let's get the Frenchie in the glass.
okay.
All righty. So French. And which one do I have handy?
You have Italian.
Italian. Italy and Spain. Cool.
Okay.
Here we
Are
go.
we talking about France first?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So all of these guys. So here's some facts about the wines across the board.
Okay.
Aging potential for every one of them is that they're made to be consumed young, but because they all have higher alcohol content, quality grapes, and nice tannins, they could all age optimally, around 5 years, say, but they can go up to 10. I think they would probably be fine. It's not really made for it. Once again, the style is made to be consumed fresh, but they are quality wines that could hang out even at this price point. The French alcohol content is 15.5%. The Spanish is 15%, and the Italian is 14.5.
Okay.
So, all right. So, which I can't. Okay. The charm sitting on top of
this is France.
Okay.
This is Italy. This is España. See, Italy is green. España is yellow.
Okay.
The flag. We didn't have like a blue one, so I just gave gold to France.
Okay. France for the gold.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go into France first.
Mhm.
All right. So aromas in French. All right. Raspberry, brighter red fruits. Almost tobacco-y. All right. Raspberry, tobacco. Almost a floral note, maybe a little little rosy, a little bit, rose hips. Mm. 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 All right, very nice. All right, on the palate, there's almost a savory note, like so you get like this dark strawberry, kind of dark raspberry, and a bit of like a almost I wouldn't say a meatiness, but it's like a savory herb thing going on there.
Mhm.
It almost reminded me of a smokiness, but I wouldn't quite go there.
I do get that floral note that you were talking about too.
Mhm.
Maybe rosy. Mhm.
Right. Fresh acid on that guy. That'll help this one age as well.
Okay.
Hmm.
And because they're all ageable, or they're all going to evolve as we have them.
They'll evolve some, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Though maybe less than some of them. They're not really wound up as much.
Okay.
Because they're ready. So this guy's made to have, it has a really nice freshness on here.
Mhm.
Bright red fruits, not as much dark, deep fruits, right?
Mhm.
Nice tingly tannins, but nothing crazy big and grippy, but really nice tannic presence, nice acid. They play together and they really tingle across your palate and keep the fruit fresh and red, along with lots of spiciness and herbiness. So
Mhm.
lots of secondary flavors. in
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's my initial thoughts on France. Let's go to Spain.
Oh, Spain.
You next, please. All right. And we're going to get into what's in these glasses and that kind of a thing. This is our initial thoughts, and I want to do a little something for what all of you guys are tasting. This triple threat week is an interesting one. Have you tried yet?
Mhm.
Okay, good. All right. So
Initially, that was my favorite one. No, sorry. Initially, the Italian was my favorite.
okay. This one's instantly on the aromas,
Mhm.
darker fruit to me. And I'm getting spices. It's like dark cherry, and some like anise and some allspice and maybe some cedar, right? And a touch of vanilla. So this is a different nose for sure,
yeah.
you know, right? We're talking about, yeah, it's a completely different country, but they're all red blends, and a lot of people say red tastes like red, you
Right.
know, but they don't taste the same.
So did you talk about blends of what the dominant grape in each is?
We're going to,
Okay.
and I don't want to be confusing, but it was just hard because we have so much to cover on it.
Okay.
And normally we kind of cover what we're tasting first,
Mhm.
and then we go into why.
Sure.
Mhm. So here we have, once again, I'd go with the same thing. It's black cherries, earthiness, baking spices, a firmer grip than the first one,
Mhm.
a little bigger tannins, and like a sweet tobacco, like a sweet herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether
Yeah.
you call it tobacco or not. And there's almost, as I hang out here, like a dried strawberry. I'm past the sip, it's hanging out on my palate,
Okay.
and that you get like this dried strawberry.
Yeah, because I'm definitely getting kind of a sweeter note to this one than the
Right.
other one.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
And
Now,
then, John and Laura said they had Spain last week. So they,
Okay.
yeah. And then, Robin said they think that Spain was their favorite overall when they were having,
Nice.
if they remember correctly. And here's Italy.
Italy. So, wow. Now that's a deep, dark beast, right? So where we talked about bright, tart fruits with the
Mhm.
Frenchie, right?
Mhm.
With the French. This guy is a deep, dark, almost fig and blueberries and, vanilla and sandalwood, right?
Mhm.
On that guy. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're
Yeah.
next to some
That
dude with
was my
some,
favorite.
you're next to some dude with some great cologne on, and you're eating black cherries.
I used to sit next to this guy named Candy in my art drafting class all the time because he wore Obsession every day. And that doesn't date me at all.
Mm. All right, so nice heavy body,
Mhm.
some nice tannins, pretty, velvety, but there's some grip to them.
Mhm.
Jammy, toasty, So vanilla, baking spices, a jammy raspberry, blueberry thing going on there, really dark fruit. So it's interesting, we've kind of gone on that spectrum, and it was really, if I do say so myself, the right order. French, Spain, Italy, and going in the intensity of fruit, right?
Sure.
We've
got some comments.
Great, let's get
Okay,
some
so
comments
John and
before we
Laura
dig
are
in.
loving Italy today. And then does anyone else taste pepper on Spain? So here's España.
There we go. Yes.
Just yes, no
Yes.
elaboration on that at all.
Well, I was starting with the
Okay.
confirmation. Yes, there is definitely a bright, almost a white pepper. Because it's really kind of, it's bright and it's not as deep and hanging out, but it's like a white peppercorn kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very bright and prickly.
Yeah, I get it more if I do the, what's it called?
Chewing the wine.
Yeah, chewing and then swallow, and then I get it kind of after. Yeah.
I get it, because it's an aromatic,
Right,
it's almost where pepper becomes floral.
Well, yeah, it's almost like I'm getting it in, like up into my nose after it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good call. I like your description on that.
So I think that's I do too from Rachel.
Oh yeah.
Okay, from the side. Okay. Because it says I do one, but I'm pretty sure it's I do too. Would you like for me to?
Yes, let's head over here. So we've talked about a lot of different flavors. Hopefully you guys locked them in. Let's talk about what these wines are and kind of what's interesting about them, right?
Okay.
Hopefully what we're all thinking right now is, I don't care which one I'm drinking, everyone is delicious.
I like all of them. Italy's just my favorite one.
That's
but
fair
I
enough.
like all of them. Okay. Here.
All right, so wine label review. So all of these guys they give you very little in the front, right? We talked about that when we did the California, right? It's very stylistic. They're doing it after like travel decals for going around the world, which is what Dave is kind of going for. Dave Phinney, the winemaker. España, they on the back, it says it's a locations wine. The 7 above, right? That is release number 7. He's not going with vintages, he's going with release number.
Okay.
So he's breaking a lot of rules in these wines, which we'll talk about what he's doing.
Yeah, wasn't
right?
there a reason why he just went with like the general locations?
Yeah.
You told that story a while ago.
Oh, we're going to cover it.
It's an interesting story.
We're going to get it. A lot of this kind of comes together at the end. I know it's kind of coming out with like, what is this, but it funnels down into the exact story. So anyway, so we got that, it's number 7. So it's kind of mysterious, right? But we've got Dave Phinney's name on here. So
anytime you see Dave Phinney,
if you see Dave Phinney, and Dave Phinney is a famous winemaker, it doesn't mean everyone's going to know him, which I get. But if you're going to start putting in a few winemakers into your mental repertoire, Dave Phinney's a great one to grab. Famous Californian originally winemaker, the guy who started Orange Swift and the Prisoner wines. So, which we'll get into that even more.
Is he still involved in their production, or he sold all of them?
We're going to go into all of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's part of the story. So you look in here, Spanish red wine, right? It doesn't say any specific area. That's because these are these really cool blends, but it would leave you without someone to, to tell you about these wines, kind of swimming around. You're like,
so really, if I'm going into this blind, unless I know Dave Phinney, I'm not necessarily trusting this label.
Exactly. You look at it and you say, well, it's flashy. It's a Spanish in general red. That doesn't tell me it's going to be a quality wine. A lot of things that are just, because this is basically considered Spanish table wine, Italian table wine, and French table wine.
Okay.
So that could mean, all right, shouldn't that be $15, not 20? You're like, where's the extra $5 coming from? Where's the quality? And then actually this guy's overperform for the price rather than saying something that like you might be a little critical about the price point. But that's only when so that it is a lot of a mystery on the labels. And that is a fair enough point that if you're looking at these and you don't know, they're not helping you out a lot.
So are Italy and France also 7?
Yes, they're all 7.
They're all 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually checked that out. I was curious, and they're all 7.
Okay.
They're all release 7. Release 8, actually, I believe it's 8, has changed the label.
Oh.
And now they're using 2 letters.
Okay.
So you may see that around a little bit. It's just the newest one. It's
okay. So evidently Brendan and Linda were not fans of the aroma of the Italian, but they very much like it with food.
Okay. Hmm.
He likes the aroma.
Wow.
Disagrees with you completely.
That's it's reminiscent of one of my favorite barbecue wines,
Okay.
and with good reason, but we'll get to that too. All
Okay.
right. So wine label review, like I said, there's a lot of question marks, right? If you get in there, you don't really know, but there's a lot to learn about these wines and why they are what they are. So let's move on.
All right. Almost spilled that all
Here we
over
go.
the place.
So the Frenchie. All right. So the French red blend. It is Grenache Syrah in assorted Bordeaux varietals is the only description. Me putting in Cabernet Sauvignon, Cab Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot. Those are the typical Bordeaux varietals, which means it's going to be some or all of those, but they don't tell us.
Mhm.
And Dave Phinney actually is historically a little vague in his blends.
This is the French one we're talking about, right? So I'm
Yeah.
grabbing the French one. Okay.
So why is this just a French table wine? Because he's blending regions that don't get blended. He's going into these
Ah,
classic areas. He's in the Rhone, right? Well, normally you would have a Côte de Rhone, and that's going to have Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre in it. Well, he's got Grenache and Syrah, and then he jumped over to Bordeaux,
okay.
and he has some from Roussanne. Roussanne is to the west of the Southern Rhone. So he is blending grapes from, let me see what I did there, help everything out. Grapes from the Southern Rhone,
Mhm.
Roussanne, and Bordeaux.
Okay.
So each one of these in traditional French wine production would only be, you only produce from within the Rhone, you only produce within Roussanne, you only produce, especially in Bordeaux.
So is this scandalous in France?
It is scandalous.
Okay.
And there was no way, and so, which we'll get into, these are good, high quality grapes, but he can only list it as table wine because of these old traditional law,
You
their
can't even list
winemaking
where
rules.
It's from. And
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Just in France or everywhere that he.
Every one of these is
Okay.
like this.
Wow.
Right. So let's jump over to Spain. All right. This blend, and every one of these blends is literally going to be a blend you've never had before. No one's put these blends together before. Here is where we're beginning to explore, why are these wines so interesting?
Mhm.
And frankly, I think they're exciting and fun.
Yeah.
So the Spanish blend is Tempranillo, Monastrell, and Carignan, which is Carignana in Spain. So Carignan is traditionally from over in southern France, right?
Mhm.
Monastrell, which is also Mourvèdre, right? So France, but also over in Jumilla. Carignan is from probably the Priorat region, and Tempranillo is going to be from up in the Rioja, Toro, and Ribera del Duero region. So he is grabbing grapes from all around Spain, again, just like in France.
Did you need me to move them?
There we go. So we've got Jumilla
Mhm.
and Rioja, Ribera del Duero, Toro is up here. There's Toro right there.
Mhm.
And then Priorat's way over here.
Yeah.
So
Very
he's
different
grabbing from
regions,
all
yeah.
around, going and finding these amazing blends and then blending them in a way that's never done. It is
Right.
not done. And so it
So
just
is
has
it
to be,
scandalous there too, or not as much as in France?
oh yeah, no, in there too. Are you
Oh,
kidding me?
okay.
If you're buying really good Tempranillo from up in the Rioja region and you're going to blend it with Carignana, there.
Just imagine them chasing him down the street. You're gonna do what? Right?
And then he just throws dollar bills over his shoulder and they're like, okay,
And then they're fine. Yeah. Exactly.
fair enough.
Good.
Right. Yes. So let's go to Italy. So this blend is Negro Amaro,
Mhm.
Nero d'Avola, and Barbera.
Okay.
So Nero d'Avola is one of my favorite barbecue grapes,
Okay.
but it's normally from Sicily
Ah.
in Italy, right?
Mhm.
Negro Amaro is from Puglia, which is the boot heel.
Mhm.
Sicily's way down at the bottom, right?
Mhm.
And then Barbera's way up in the northwest,
Oh.
up in
Very
Piedmont
different
and
region.
Alba.
Mhm.
So, well, we have a hand up, so I'll
Okay.
answer that question real quick.
All right. Paul, you want to take the mic?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so we were discussing, and I know we've talked about this before, but I was curious. So with the blending, are these wines being blended after the fact? So are they fermenting them beforehand and then blending them afterwards, or are they fermenting them together, which would be like less control? So I was a little bit curious, you know, so
What's Phinney's
Right.
procedure?
Yeah.
So it's a good question. So when they blend, if they take all the different juices and blend them together and ferment them at the same time, it's called co-fermentation,
Mhm.
right?
Are they
Okay.
doing that? Do you know?
Most likely not.
Oh.
This is almost certainly independently vinted and then
Okay.
blended by taste.
So they
As
can
the
control.
winemaker goes in
Okay.
and says, okay, I want a little more of this, a little more of that. And they literally blend glasses of wine
Mhm,
at the place from the barrels
mhm.
and then come up with
The
the proportions that
percentages,
they
okay.
want, right?
Yeah.
That was what we were curious about. So I was telling Paul, you know, I was interested in seeing, you know, what the percentage would be from each, you know, so if they did it after the fact, you know, what would be the percentage of Rioja versus, I don't know, Menestral or something,
Right.
you know, and then kind of it's an interesting blend of food chemistry and artistry at the same time.
I
Absolutely.
think that's a great
So-
description.
Mhm.
Mhm. And it
But,
changes
yeah.
from vintage to vintage, which is another reason that he doesn't give percentages.
Okay.
It's literally based on artistic tasting of what has been presented from that season's growth to
Mhm.
what they want to make. And so that is one reason where you say, oh, it seems ambiguous. Does the ambiguous part mean good or bad? In this case, you do have an actual head winemaking artisan choosing the flavors, which is what they do in Bordeaux.
Ah,
That's why in Bordeaux it changes constantly, and
Okay.
most of the Bordeaux blends won't tell you what proportion they are because it changes from season to vintage to
Mhm.
vintage based on what they want to produce.
sure.
All right. So see, Negro Amaro, Nero de Avola, Barbera,
Mhm.
and Puglia and Piedmont. Let's jump to the map, please.
Okay.
So it's from, thank you, from Puglia down here on the boot heel.
Mhm.
And then way up here, you have
Yeah.
Alba, so you have some Barbera,
Very different.
right? And you know what's interesting though is the Nero de Avola, which I mentioned, is usually from Sicily.
Yeah, you said that.
Sicily, right down here, right?
Mhm.
But in this case, there's some. So he's breaking another rule. They're growing Nero de Avola in Puglia, and he's in Puglia, which is famous for Zinfandel.
Mhm.
He's famous for Zinfandel, and he didn't use any Zinfandel. He's a madman.
So he's famous for Zinfandel in California.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That is kind of his Zinfandel blends, which I'm going to say that later, but that was kind of what he kind of hung his hat on in
California.
California. And when we did the Californian blend in
Mhm.
this, I said to everyone here, he does an Italian blend. It doesn't say, and at the time they did not say which grapes it was.
Hmm.
They've changed that.
They
And
just
I
said-
assumed, I said, it's got to have
Zin.
Primitivo, which is Zinfandel,
Okay.
in it. And he has none. Put me on my heels. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. All right. So, all right.
I always forget how young he is.
Oh, yeah.
Like I always think he's gonna be like in his 60s.
Yeah,
You know?
no.
Yeah,
that's
he's
crazy.
accomplished a lot.
Right. So he's breaking the rules within each of these countries. In like I said, in even some of them like Nero de Avola from Puglia, not
Mhm.
from Sicily, but he knows good grapes. This man is a great winemaker. So the Locations Project, the Locations Wines, right? Dave Phinney is the winemaker.
Mhm.
Dave's background, right? Dave fell in love with winemaking while studying abroad, and I always put studying in quotes because he was in college and went to study a semester abroad in Italy with a friend of his who said, "You've got to come here with me." So he
Mhm.
went to Florence and fell in love with wine in 1995.
He obviously has an amazing natural palate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he decided he had to be a part of this industry and was hired to work with Robert Mondavi Wines in 1997. So just 2 years later. He worked with Mondavi for a year and then started Oren Swift in 1998. So Oren Swift Wines, for you guys that may not be familiar with it, Oren Swift Wines, he's a negociant in Napa Valley. What is a negociant? I know we've covered it, but not everyone. Negociant simply means a winemaker that purchases his grapes from other growers. Now, that can sound like he has very little control over what's going on, but that is not the case. There's a whole spectrum of what negociant can mean depending on the winemaker. So some negociants literally will buy whatever they can get. What do you have left? I'm going to make something and I'll send it out. Probably not going to be the best wine, right? Other winemakers literally go in and give them a 10 to 20 year contract and say, fine, I'm dedicating to buying all of your grapes for this entire time frame, but you have to grow them like this.
Right.
Maybe organically, sustainably, different things like that.
You have to go and sing to them every day at 3 o'clock.
It could be.
Mhm.
It could be exactly it. You have to drop a certain percentage of grapes. So the grapevines will make more grapes than is good for them for the intensity of the grapes.
Right.
So dropping grapes, I'm going to throw a bunch of terms out tonight, evidently. Dropping grapes, you go in there and you snip off some of the X percent. And they do it at different percentages depending on what their goals are. Say you might drop 10% of the production, which is leaving money on the ground that you could have sold,
Right.
but you're going to improve the quality of the other grapes.
So, really stupid question, but like if you're snipping all of those off, okay, so I'm going to revise my question actually. At what point are you snipping them off just as soon as you see, okay, there's a little grape growing, let me go ahead and snip that off right now so it puts no energy toward that then?
I would assume they do it earlier rather than later.
Okay.
So I can't tell you exactly. I don't know enough
Mhm.
to tell you that, but I'm sure for the exact reason you're saying, they want the energy going into the other grapes.
Right.
It's
Okay.
got to be early in the
Okay.
process, not later.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're just going through, there's nothing specifically about that grape that they find offensive. It's just
random. Hey, look, you're
I need
looking
to
at
snip off
this.
so many.
You're
Mhm.
if the boss told you get rid of 10% of the grapes in there,
Mhm.
you're eyeballing it and getting rid of 1/10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. If anyone's doing it much more specifically than that, I have not heard the technique. And that would be fair enough. All right. So he began Oren Swift, his first wine label.
Mhm.
Oren Swift, by the way, is named for his grandfathers.
Ah,
In 1998, just 1 year after beginning to work with Mondavi. He controlled that label independently until 2016, when he sold that to the Gallo portfolio. So Gallo Wines has an incredible portfolio in addition to their own wines, right? Of amazing wines, right? So there's some very inexpensive Gallo, but those don't define the Gallo portfolio.
right.
So he sold them to them in 2016. So he began Oren Swift in 1998. He began the Prisoner wines in 2000. Now, and he sold the Prisoner wines earlier than Oren Swift. So he started in 2000. He sold them in 2010
Okay.
to Constellation Brands. Now, the difference in those deals was this. Gallo brought him on and retained him as head winemaker. Constellation Brands bought the brand.
Okay.
So when you see Prisoner wines out there now,
It's no longer.
Prisoner, Saldo,
Mhm.
they're not directly related to Dave Phinney anymore.
Okay.
I'm not saying that makes them bad. I'm just saying Dave is no longer directly working on
Okay.
those wines. But with Oren Swift
Mhm.
and with Locations wines, he is directly working with them, even though both of them are owned by Gallo.
Did you say how many there were before? How many locations?
We're gonna have a photo in a moment.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Which means you do not remember how many there are, but there's a picture to let us know.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So he is a pioneer in working with high quality California Zinfandel in his blends.
And as
You know, I'm a big high quality Zinfandel
That's
guy.
Jeff's political platform.
That is it. The
Yep.
national grape of the United States of America is Zinfandel.
Yep.
We make the most, we make the best.
There you go. I'm gonna get you like a sash that says that.
National grape. That's right.
Yeah, national grape.
There you go.
Zinfandel.
So began working on the Locations wine label while he was already working with Gallo, so they just moved right into the Gallo
Okay.
portfolio. And like I said, he still is the head winemaker for Locations and for Oren Swift.
So does he have, he's still the head winemaker for those. Does he have another like thing that's just his now or not? Because he's started several, but he sold them.
Right.
So,
He sold them. He's the head winemaker. He doesn't have an independent.
okay.
He is working on a distillery now.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Huh.
that's a new endeavor for him. He's
That's
working on
cool.
a distillery.
Right. Wait,
So
we have
next-
a chat.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, Linda is voting for you.
No, thank you.
Yes. There's one. It's
There
one
we go.
vote.
I got one. Hey, you know what? It all starts with one.
It really depends on the week whether I'm voting for you or not. I'm just saying. Last week, no. This week, probably.
Hey.
No.
So better we do some more of that Italian. All right. So here are the different brands, right? So we have the original Prisoner lineup
Mhm.
and then the Oren Swift lineup. The Oren Swift is still accurate. The Prisoners is accurate, but
Mhm.
they have changed the Prisoner lineup in that they now, like the cuttings and things used to be the cab. There is now a Prisoner cab, a Prisoner Pinot. They've taken some of the like the cuttings and the thorn and some of those that were the Merlot.
Those are
that
the
was
names
Merlot.
of these.
Those are
that
the
you're
names of
saying.
those,
Oh,
you're right.
okay, I thought you were talking about parts of the plant. All right.
Oh, right. No, sorry.
Sorry.
All right. So here you have like Prisoner White blends, Prisoner Red blends.
Mhm.
Those used to be the blends. The Prisoner direct name
Okay.
was the name for the blends.
Okay.
And then the cuttings was the name for the cab.
Okay.
And that is still a Cabernet Sauvignon made
Mhm.
by them, but they've decided to take some of the wines back in-house and only sell them direct to the public and not distribute them.
Okay.
So now, if you want a Prisoner Cabernet Sauvignon,
Mhm.
it's going to be called the Prisoner Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh.
They have new
okay.
labels out now.
Okay.
So now Prisoner has
Mhm.
its own sub wines and Saldo has its own sub wines. Saldo used to just be the Zinfandel.
Oh.
And now
okay.
there's a Saldo cab and a Saldo Zin and so they've changed the lineup a little bit.
Linda's coming up with a whole campaign for you.
Mhm.
God bless the Zinfandel wine that I love. Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of God bless America.
I like that.
Yeah. You'll have a theme song. It's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oren
then the Oren
Swift
Swift.
wines. All right.
Mhm.
What's interesting, the Oren Swift, they throw a Prisoner in there. So that's obviously a historical thing about Dave
Yeah,
Phinney.
because I'm looking at the same label for the first one
Right.
and
I
then
was
the
like,
middle
"What
one.
you guys
Mhm.
doing in there? That's an interesting thing. I don't know why they, anyway, but the rest of them are all like, you've got the Palermo cab,
Mhm.
you've got the Mannequin Chardonnay, the Machete Red Blend, the Abstract Red Blend,
Mhm.
and the Papillon Red Blend. And then this is before they added 7 Years in the Desert, the Zinfandel
right,
dominant
right,
red
right.
blend back in.
Yeah.
That's his baby.
So I've seen, I think I recognize all those labels except maybe the second one from the left. Do we have that too? Because I'm not sure that I recognize.
Oh,
that
the
one.
Palermo?
I guess. it's
That's the
second one from
Cabernet, yeah,
left.
with
Okay.
the skeletal pirate. Yes, we normally do. It
Is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
You can't tell. I mean, obviously I know what it is. I've been looking at it for years.
Like that's a skeletal pirate.
So Palermo is the only one we don't have in the store right
Okay.
now. So
All right.
anyway.
They're coming up with a whole thing for you in the chat, by the way, for your, yeah.
But the Palermo is a great one. So let's move on. Next, we'll look at our Locations wines
Okay.
to answer your question. All these guys.
Yeah.
New Zealand. Actually, there's a few not in here. There's a
Okay.
French rosé.
Does it say FR?
Now it does.
Okay.
These have changed to 2 letters, but it
Oh,
just
they've
changed.
all changed to, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Texas was already.
So wait, so if they've changed to 2 letters and there's a French rosé and a French
Right.
red, they clearly start with the same letter. So what do they say on the thing?
Oh, they both say FR, but you can tell one's a rosé. 'cause you're
Okay.
looking
All
at
right.
it. So The Spanish one is ES. I'm not sure if the Portuguese, I haven't seen the Portuguese on there. I hope he didn't stop making it. It was really good.
Okay,
AR is Argentina, not Arkansas.
Arizona is what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
or
but
because
yeah.
it's next to Texas. And then
Right.
there's the not mythical, it does exist, but we all want to try the Texas one, right?
Right, yes.
So
Where's it? Where in Texas? Oh, it's a blend.
it's,
so
yeah,
we don't
it's
know.
not
all over.
available. It is on their website, but it's not in the state of Florida,
Okay,
which is frustrating.
so anybody who travels to Texas, you gotta grab some bottles for all of us.
I'm going to tell you, I am considering putting a tasting together where we all sign up ahead of time. I get enough bottles for us,
Mhm.
and then we bring in the Texan wine and we all like share bottles.
Can we bring it in? I thought you said it wasn't.
I
in
can't
state
sell the
Florida.
bottles to anybody, but we can all drink it.
Oh, okay,
It would just be a communal buy,
okay, all right.
but then we could all enjoy it together.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been talking
No,
about.
that'd be cool. I'd like to try the Texan
Yeah.
wine. I've never had Texan wine.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting blend too.
Yeah,
All right.
we did have some, what was it? We had some like desert wine, right? Like from,
Well, we just had Armenian.
do we not have like, where's Rachel from? No, from
You're
the
talking
United
about
States.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah, the
yes.
sparkler. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. The
yeah.
Gruet. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. And by the way, we will have Lebanese wine coming up.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Well, I like the Armenian, so,
that's
all right. Something. to
You're on
look-
board. All right.
And they're drinking the Washington blend, the WA.
Oh yeah, Washington blend. That's right. Another nice blend in there. They've got a lot of them in there, and he seems to make some years and some not other years, and maybe depending on which grapes he's happy with.
Yeah, maybe he just gets it and he's like,
Right.
this is shit. I'm not making this.
Well, yeah, who knows? He's got the right.
I
He's the
mean,
buyer.
Yeah, he's,
So, let's go to the next one. Let me see if I'm ready for this yet. All right. So yes, I'm going to tell the story. This is the story of the Locations wine starting up. Started in Maury, Languedoc, France, right? So, Dave's friend asked him to join him in the Languedoc on France. And we could jump back up to the map if you want. Languedoc is in southwest France.
okay.
All right. He was so impressed with the area, he purchased this vineyard, 300 acres of vineyard in Maury, France, on the spot.
Oh my God.
You can do that after you sell a couple of wineries to big guys, right?
Mhm.
So he traveled to France after he had this, and he was looking what he could produce.
Wait, this is after he sold Prisoner?
This is after he sold Prisoner and sold Orange.
Orange Swift. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So he's had a couple of deals. He built them. They succeeded. So he's obviously doing well with that.
Okay.
And then he sold them.
Okay.
Right. So he's now working for Gallo as
Mhm.
one of their specialty head winemakers, right,
Mhm.
for different projects. Goes with a friend, travels to the Languedoc, is very impressed with what he sees, buys 300 acres of established old vines. And now his brain is running around thinking, what can I do with this? What am I going to do? I can make a red blend down there. He was obviously impressed with what he had, right? But then they were traveling France as a whole. So he traveled to different areas of France and found these wonderful other old vine vineyards that he could buy the grapes from and then blend them with what he had going on down there. And he's constructing in his mind. You know how you talk about how I imagine flavors and I can
Mhm.
think about how they would be. That's got to be what he was doing.
Sure.
He's thinking, I could do this and this and that. But if he blended those regions, it would just be called table wine, right? So,
Mhm.
and he was really frustrated with this, and he sat on it until about 2010, and then he finally decided,
Oh. Okay, when did he start?
I'm not sure. It doesn't
Oh,
say.
okay.
It just
All right.
let's say it was, who knows, a year or 2 years.
Okay.
I can't tell you for sure.
All right.
I was like, I would love if they'd give every detail.
Right,
and-
right.
So he decided, screw it, I'm doing this. I'm going to do it anyway. And so he went and he bought those grapes and started making this product, talked to Gallo, said, let's do the location wine.
Mhm.
Was so excited that he decided, this is amazing. Let's do it in the other old world countries. Like, who's ever had this Spanish blend? No one, but it would be
Right.
delicious. And he
Right.
knew in his head he could make it.
Yeah.
It's like, who the hell can do that? You know who can?
Dave Phinney.
Dave frickin' Phinney.
Well, it just reminds me of a chef being able to think, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna grab this and this and this, and these spices have never been blended together, but it's gonna taste great on this salmon or whatever. And
Right.
you know, and you're like, well, I've never had, you know, whatever with this. And yeah, because it's an art form
It is.
as well
Yeah,
as just like you know, food. Like
Well,
wine
and it plays in- yeah.
Go ahead.
It plays into what you were saying, which is he's got an amazing palette
Right.
and the ability to coalesce his thoughts about this is how I would put these together and I
Right.
could make this happen.
Right.
And that's exactly how this entire project began.
I
It
find
started in France in this beautiful,
and then he decided to
Vineyard.
go to all these different places, including New World, like New Zealand and stuff.
Sure,
And
yeah.
Washington,
Mhm.
Texas.
yeah, he just kept going with the idea. Once he got rolling with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Californian red blend is not a Bordeaux. It's not a Bordeaux based red blend, in which we talked about it before. I can't remember all the different things, but there are a lot of Italian and Spanish combos in there. It's insane. So super fun. Very different red blends, well received throughout the world, from a rock star winemaker doing a very like a project very few people could even do.
No, I find it so interesting that because for me, I can't mixing things, but picture flavors to put them together like that. I mean, for me, visual is visual. Like we have this joke because I can tell something's level by looking at it.
Yes, that's true.
Like literally, I had a handyman that I'm like, that shelf is not level. And he went and he put a level on it. And he was like, yes, it is. And he's just looking at me. I went, no, it's not. And he looked back and he went, oh, it's not. It's off by a quarter of an inch. How did you see that across the room? But I can see it visually. But I couldn't put together flavors like this, which I feel like you could. Because you can like picture flavors or
I would
like,
I'm closer.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, but you certainly know how to enjoy them.
oh, I know how to enjoy them just fine. I'm enjoying all three of them just fine.
But I appreciate the compliment. All right. So that is what I think is a very cool story
Yeah.
of what we have for these wines.
So he sold the locations one as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is
Is
now
that
a Gallo
Gallo?
project as
Okay.
well, which is why he's still the head winemaker.
Okay.
Which I like that side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. And
Oh, we have
there's a video for everyone.
All right.
What could you do if you
Hold on.
That's fun.
Let's try it again.
I had to do this differently than the other ways.
Unable to play video, error 5. This happened
So-
before?
No, so what happened is normally I'd pull them off of YouTube, right? But this
Mhm.
could only come from their website or download.
Mm,
So I downloaded it and it said, oh, well, you have to upload it
mhm,
to Google Docs.
mhm.
And then you can just link it over, which
Right.
it said it did.
What did he say?
What could you do if you broke all the rules?
Oh, okay. Well,
And then
that
he
makes
goes
sense.
into
That
all
does
the
go-
cool stuff I just said. And
But-
and a lot of things about pairing the flavors with
Mhm.
food and how we can imagine them and all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when we post this video, we need to share this link with it then.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll share the link and then you can see it since
Like I
there's,
say, if you go to
there's an error.
we'll go to the yeah, I don't understand why that I mean literally did what they told me to do. But
Okay, I'm just gonna write a note to share the link
Right.
with video.
yeah, it would have basically just been in his own words saying exactly what I said, but we didn't lose any content, it was fun visuals.
All right, well, we'll share the link.
All right,
Hold
so
on, next.
next we're going to go into the ratings, so we can stop for a minute
Okay,
and kind of reassess, or at least not reassess, but discuss what you guys have been tasting and thinking as I've been talking about the story that is Dave Phinney and the location wines.
I was just looking at the three to see if there were any differences in color, but they're not all exactly the same level, so
Yeah, though you can see the that guy looks the
that's
darkest.
España.
Yeah. And then
Mhm.
France and Italy, which makes sense, would be the lightest. They tend to be the lighter.
Oh, that's right. They're lighter, even though
They're intense,
they're intense.
but you tend to be able to see through Italy
Yeah.
easier.
Mhm.
I
So-
like that he used Negro Amaro. I think it's a great grape.
Mhm.
All right, so
Any questions, comments? What are you eating with it?
ooh, what are you eating with it? That's a good question. And do we kick?
I had some Tillamook cheese with it. It's very good.
That's
It was good.
right. By the way, do we kick the people out that brought a new world wine to an old world wine tasting? I don't know. Might be a little disappointed. I'm just saying. It's a good thing I already like you guys. And by the way, here's the funnier part. There are old world wine specialists.
What are they doing? Okay, so John made spaghetti and meat sauce.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that'll definitely work. Well, these guys are really flexible. You guys saw that I didn't put specific food pairings
Mhm.
because look, if you got something meaty or savory, one of these is going to work with
So
it,
I have a
right?
question because we have eggplant parmesan
Yes,
with cheese tortellinis. So
Mhm.
that works with all three.
pretty much. I mean, depending on what you used for the meat based.
My mother cooks for us every Tuesday now, which is
It's
very
been
nice. This is
wonderful.
their
I know.
Tuesday.
But with the eggplant, the meat sauce, yeah,
Mhm.
it'll work just great, especially with the Italian,
All right.
because they can work with some nice spiciness because of the dark fruitiness.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. All right.
So,
All right.
all right, let's move on. All right, so you guys saw on the way in, we're talking about 90+ point wines across the board, no matter which one we're talking about.
Do you want
So,
me to share the ratings? You can explain
Yes.
them. Okay.
so on the rating, so we're talking about, is it like, even if it wasn't your favorite, but is it well made? Are there flaws, or is it just not your style, right? That would be the first thing you ask yourself. Is it just not my thing? Like, for example, if you drink a really, really well-made Chardonnay, you're not going to be jumping out of your seat for a Chardonnay that may have 97
you know
points.
me.
Yeah, right.
I'm all about the really well-made Chardonnay.
Right. So you start with that and say, so then you step back and say, all right, I'm going to do an assessment level on this guy. Is it well made? Does it have character? That kind of a thing. Does it have character? Is it expressing something from where it's from or the winemaker himself?
Mhm.
So those are all pluses,
Right.
no matter what in there. Now, if it tastes like feet, obviously that is a flaw. That is a poorly made wine, right?
This tastes like feet.
Yeah, it would be bad, right? That's not good. Unless it was meant to. It might be Burgundian. It could be very expensive.
I don't think that tastes like feet.
No,
though.
no. It's more that farmhouse thing that can,
Right.
it can be
Right.
funky.
Horse barn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, is it well made? Then you can think, is it my style? What do I think about it?
Mhm.
Right. And how does it line up versus other wines that are similar to this that I've had? So from the region, from, in with that kind of grape or that kind of blend. So did it make you happy? Is a start, and then you put in a little bit of thought. So it's an amalgamation of a couple of different thought levels.
Sure.
On there.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the share and start reading some of the chat.
All right.
So we have France, we have a 92. So a 92 for Italy and a 90 for France. Okay, because I forgot that John and Laura had both.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we have Linda said a 91 for Spain. And then Chris and Robin very much liked their New World wine. So they think all of them kind of rank around 89 to 90.
Mhm.
They're very well made and showcases the region. Lacking the top end characteristics. Yeah, they're not like
Right.
95 and above.
Right.
And they said due to them being blends, yeah, because
Right.
So Jason and Jen, shockingly, it was not their thing. Better in spicy red sauce than the mild red. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
spicy kind of bringing out
Right.
more of it. Mhm.
Hmm.
And then both Brenda and Linda, both of us think 90 for France, 91 for Spain. Italy is 85 or 89 with food,
Okay.
but they have a different smell. I want to bring Bob and Jeff. So
Okay.
yeah, because it's so different from the group.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay. Oh, okay. They thought F.
Yeah.
Okay. The Snyder's had España, very big, peppery, and bold. Yeah.
Mhm.
They would have it, so they would revisit.
Hmm.
And then Paul, they had Spain, had it with delicious Asian ribs.
Oh, yeah.
As it opened up, it got more bite. So you're saying you felt the tannins more then as it opened up? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then
That can happen.
they liked it initially, but it dropped off a little bit after opening up. So 90 and then dropped to 89.
The Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so Consuelo, 91 for Italy, 90 for France, 89 for Spain.
Okay. You're all right there. Yeah.
And actually I would be like probably right with Consuelo. That would be my ranking. Italy, France, Spain for me.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people mentioned the Spanish was their favorite,
Mhm.
like at the beginning, but for me, I'm right with Consuelo. Yeah, Italy, France,
Hmm.
Spain, there. Hmm.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. I think they're all nice blends.
Mhm.
I know you said they were good price points, so
They're all great price point. And that
yeah.
is something to factor into, which I didn't say. I mean, obviously you're going to look at it differently if this was a $300 bottle of wine versus, you know, a $20 bottle of wine.
So I'm thinking it's underperforming for a $300 bottle
Yeah,
of wine.
yeah.
I'd be a little disappointed.
Right.
Right. But yeah, for how much did you say it was? Like
These are under 20. Yeah.
under 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking 25, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, they're delicious. So I mean, they're right at 20. You know, is it, you know, on sale, they're going to be just under, normally they're going to be just over.
Right.
Call them, it's a $20-ish
Mhm.
bottle of wine. Across the board, I think pretty impressive for that price point.
Mhm.
I really do like the Frenchie a lot.
Oh, that's your favorite? Is the
Yes.
that's not surprising to me. And that's funny because it
Mm.
goes right along with our heritage that
Mm.
I would like the Italian better than the French.
So it's got this
But,
cool savory note going on in there. And it's a cool wine. It's very tasty.
Yeah, I think all of them are very solid, good wines. Yeah.
But
I like all of
the
them.
Italian's got that beautiful fruit going on.
Mhm.
I think it's, and I've told you, I love Negro Amaro. I want people to drink more Negro Amaro. It's so much fun to say, and it's a great,
So
great.
that's your secondary. First is Zin is
Mhm.
the grape of the United States.
That's
And
right.
then second is everyone should drink more Negro Amaro,
Mhm.
even though it's not the grape of the United States.
It is not. You know what? Maybe I'll start growing some. But I think these guys are all
In
delicious.
Florida, you're
No.
not gonna do very well.
No, it's gonna be my secret location. You know where I want to go.
In the United States?
Mhm. You don't have to say it out loud. It's secret.
It's
It's a
secret.
secret.
Elizabeth, just
Amazing.
act like you know,
It's
because
secret.
You remember?
I do remember that
Yeah.
now. Okay, I'm not moving there, so. So do we have a what? So are we crossing our fingers and toes that the wine for next week, the distributor actually delivers?
Yes, yes.
Are we using a different distributor than we were?
No, I'm leaving it in place one more time because the rep is really good. She was on vacation. She didn't do the problem.
Ah,
She is the victim of the problem like us, and I don't want to do that.
are
sure.
we
She's
still
great.
recording?
Yeah, we
Yes.
are, so.
So anyway,
Thank you.
yes, good call. All right, let's go to next week's wine. Oh my gosh, we already said it was the same, but here we go.
Well, we didn't say it was the same wine.
Yeah.
Is it the same wine?
It's the same wine,
Oh,
as-
that as it was
yeah.
before. Okay.
right?
first we have
As
to say
as
this
the same one that was supposed to be this week.
one. Okay.
Thank you, Wine Folly, 750.com, Wikipedia, locationswine.com, and Napa Valley Life Magazine.
Awesome.
Yes. Here it is.
Okay. So I was thinking you were talking about the same distributor. So this is the same exact.
This is the same exact
Oh,
wine that we
she'll get
tried to
it
do
in
this
for
week.
us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So Band of it, I'm sure it will arrive. So Band of Vintners Consortium, Napa Valley, Cab, Sauv. So this is a group of guys that came together and they decided, look, they're kind of rock star guys that are making
Mhm.
some great wine in Napa. And they said, you can't drink Montrachet every single day. It's just not realistic for almost anybody. So they wanted to make badass Bordeaux styled cab that you could afford to drink on a more regular basis. So
Okay,
this is a Bordeaux styled Cabernet Sauvignon, Napa Valley juice. Robert Parker 92, Willie Wong 91. Then, like I said, the food pairings. If I have to tell you what to do with cab at this point, you've not been paying attention.
but if you want suggestions, you can feel free to reach out to Jeff
Yes, obviously.
or Jake or Mike.
Like
Mhm.
steak, mushrooms, savory things. You know,
Yeah.
venison.
Mhm.
You
Sounds
know,
good.
all
I like
the
their-
savory
Their
delicious things.
artwork too, it's continuous line drawing. It's very cool.
It is cool.
Mhm.
And it's a really good wine. And it will be worth the wait when we get it.
All
I'm
right.
going to feel good about it. It's going to show up. So
And he did just knock on some wood, so we're all good.
Yes,
It looks like an Etch-a-Sketch drawing.
I like
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well,
All right.
let's toast. You know, you can grab whichever one you want. Grab France, you grabbed Italy.
Well, I'm grabbing all three.
All right. Thank you for joining us and for dealing with calling an audible week, going choose your own adventure on the wines.
Cheers, everyone.
All right.
Both of my hands were taken up though, so now I have to.
Hmm.
Just bear with me a moment while I stop the recording.